Is there a new floor or ceiling for Auburn football in 2023?
Freezing temperatures are likely for several hours inland and a few hours closer to the coast.
Yes.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's a Charlie Tuesday. That means we're joined by Auburn message board legend, the Charlie5. First time talking to you since Auburn improved to be 3-0, thanks to that big win against the Samford Bulldogs. Charlie5, a lot of talk about what the record would be for this Auburn team going into Texas A&M throughout the season, which the big thing was, can you beat Cal and take care of business against everybody else? Obviously, the Auburn Tigers have done just that, 3-0 heading into Texas A&M. But does this change your mind at all about what the potential floor or potential ceiling is for this Auburn Tigers team regarding their record?
Yeah, so I wanted to see in the game, hey, can we go out there and not just have to run, the Robbie stuff in the red zone, just, run the ball 50 times to just kind of take the game away? Can we actually execute? Can we throw the ball down the field? And regardless of the opponent, what you have to do in these games is go out, execute, and take care of business. And, there was the early two little weird drives where we had, the turnovers. But other than that, I felt like we marched the ball down the field at will in the passing game. And that's what I needed to see to feel like you could be looking at a possible, 7-8, win floor type season, because, we're going to A&M. They can't stop the pass. I know we're going to talk about that later. But just running the ball is not going to win you games. You got to be able to throw it down the field. And I mean, I don't know how you can walk away from that and that game and just at least say, hey, they handled business, and they handled business in a way that I wasn't sure they could do it. And I mean, it has to give you a little bit more optimism moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Pro Football Focus numbers, which some people like, some people don't. I like them. I think it's a good metric. Not perfect, but no metric really is. But Texas A&M, when you look at pass coverage, they have the second lowest pass coverage grade in the entire conference. Only South Carolina is worse than them. And so what was Auburn struggling with? They were struggling with consistency in the passing game. And sure, Samford's going to be way worse at defending the pass than Texas A&M is. But let's don't act like Texas A&M has a good pass defense. Right. And I just think if you can protect Payton Thorne, he'll be able to put up 250 yards through the air, and that'll be enough to set up the running backs to create some lanes in the front seven. So I love the game plan. I thought it was a success. And I also love the forethought of this coaching staff, because you can tell their approach to this game wasn't about Samford. It was about getting better for the rest of the season. And I thought that was something that not all coaches and coaching staffs would have done.
Sure. And I think if you look at the types of plays that were called, it was believe it or not, they put a ton of pressure on Payton Thorne to make correct decisions. That's why you saw him run a lot more. Yeah. Ferg put out a stat, and this just blows my mind. Payton, they probably called, I think he threw 31 passes or 30 passes, something like that, but he probably dropped back even more than that. But he was 13 of 15 on RPO passes. Okay, so there was 15 pass plays where he had to make the correct decision. And I would argue he made all 15 correct decisions, because the two incompletions were on the goal line. He overthrew Jay Fair a little bit. And then he put a dime on Hooks, and Hooks just got tied up or something, didn't even make a play on the ball. But you were worried about, you hear Freeze talking about, oh, he's reading the wrong side of the field. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. They threw a ton at him that game, and he almost executed it flawlessly. He did make one bad decision on the interception in the end zone. Yeah. I think the first interception, was not on him. I think it hit Shane Hooks right in the chest.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze put it on Hooks in the post-game presser.
Yeah. So, that's what you had to see. And they really put a ton on Payton Thorne. And, regardless of opponent, he executed almost flawlessly.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit yesterday when Lindsay was on Charlie5, because so many people are kind of, the Thorne doubters still. And there's still some reasons there. I think, I don't know. I have a hard time really buying into that, but I'm trying to see where people are coming from. But they'll say that he locks onto a primary target. And it's like, well, the way you coach and fix that is you give him RPO situations where it's like, okay, if this happens, you do this. If this happens, you do this. That's coaching. That's why so many college offenses are getting better. It's not that the quarterbacks are getting better. It's that the coaching and the scheme is getting better and they're able to operate within that. And so if you're worried about that, which I still think is a little exaggerated, I think it's a little exaggerated that he locks onto his primary guy, can't progress through a pattern, but whatever. Let's assume you're right. The RPO going 13 to 15 on RPO situations, RPO passes, that's going to help. That's going to help because all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, there are two options. And if you call it right, the scheme is correct. You're reading one dude usually. And it's like, okay, in that situation, one of those two options is going to work if you execute it correctly. So even if that's like your biggest issue with Thorne, you should trust his coaching staff to put him in a situation to succeed.
And they seem to be doing that.
So do you think, with all this being said, do you think it raises the floor for Auburn's ceiling? Going into the year, you thought the floor was 6 wins, right?
After the Cal game, I was very concerned that that I couldn't figure out where the chicken or the egg. I talked about this before. I couldn't figure out if Robbie was playing because Thorne was struggling, or if Thorne was struggling because Robbie was playing and switching in and out.
Okay.
And now I think it was probably the latter. I think that the rotations kind of threw things off. They settled in. They gave him the reins and said, go do it. And to me, that makes me feel like another thing. I know you don't like this argument, but Thorne got here in June, and just think about having to learn just 15 RPO plays in general. Okay. Just think about having to learn having to learn the whole playbook, and you just kind of build and build and build.
I'm fine with that argument.
And maybe we're sort of getting to where he's becoming more comfortable in making those decisions, and instead of being afraid to make the wrong decision. I don't know. I think 7. I feel like you're maybe at a 7-win floor right now, and you could possibly upset some folks. This weekend's a big game. I think
biggest game of the year.
Yeah,
biggest game of the year.
So far, yes, absolutely.
I think right now, if you had, I said it all summer, Auburn going to College Station is the most important game on the schedule, and we'll talk about it a ton. We'll talk about it more later too. But Texas A&M, Georgia, LSU. There's a solid chance you lose all 3 of those games. There's a solid chance you lose all 3 of those games. You may not. If you win one of those 3 games, all of a sudden, this could be an 8 or 9 win season, which is exciting.
Right.
But Ole Miss at home, Mississippi State at home, I feel better about those games now than I did going into the year.
Sure.
Vanderbilt on the road. I think that is what it is. I don't think our opinions change much on that.
And then Hugh's going to absolutely dominate New Mexico State after last year. Get ready, New Mexico State.
Sure,
you're going to
sure. Yeah, stinks to what the Aggies, but in Fayetteville, I picked Auburn to win in Fayetteville regardless going into the year. But it's if BYU can do whatever they want, you're telling me by that point in the season, if Auburn keeps getting better, I don't know about that. And there's a chance that Arkansas they have some internal things. And then all of a sudden the Iron Bowl is okay, I would love to play Alabama next week. If I'm just being honest. Exactly. I'd love to play Alabama next week. So we'll see what happens with that program moving forward. But yeah, I feel better about 8-4 now than I ever have.
Sure. I'm 1,000% with you right there.
Let's book. We're booking.
Book it.
All right. Coming up, Shane Hooks, Jay Fair, they can eat. We'll discuss in just a moment right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is the best place to wager on all of your sports action. And right now is the best time to join with the NFL season and college football now gearing up, ramping up. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you have to do is place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to join in on the action. The app is easy to use, and there's a bunch of different betting options, including spreads, player props, over, under. Of course, there's more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL and college football season. Charlie5, our guest on this Charlie Tuesday. So when you look at what Shane Hooks and Jay Fair are doing, those two guys have really emerged as the top two receivers, not only in production, but as far as targets as well. Rivaldo Fairweather is third in targets. But when you look at Auburn's targets, there have been 75 players, or 70 players have been targeted 75 times so far this season. Jay Fair almost doubles everyone else. He has been targeted 20 times. 20 times. And he actually has twice as many receptions as everyone else. Shane Hooks has been targeted 12 times. And there's a big drop off after that until you get to Rivaldo at 7. I'm a little shocked by this, but I mean, Jay Fair has just been money. He's been so good. And the fact of the matter is, like, he's been targeted 20 times. He's caught 14. That's 70%. Like, that's exactly what you want out of your slot receiver. It's incredible.
Oh, he's phenomenal. Mike G called this one. He's phenomenal, and he's not only good at just slot receiver stuff. Like, he can get down the field and he beats people vertically. And how hard is it to throw? I feel like it's tougher to throw a deep ball to a smaller guy, and they seem to have got their timing down because every single one, it seems like, is on the money. Jay Fair, I'm like Hugh. If he was 6'2", he might be the best player in America. Like, he is really, really good, really good. And I don't have any I don't have any reservations, or I totally get it. I get it why he's getting all the targets. He's getting open. He's open. So I love building the game plan around him. As for Hooks, look, I loved Hooks coming out of fall camp, and he's had 12 targets and like 5 or 6 catches, five catches.
It's like 44%.
He's got to get
41.
better. He's got to get better. He's got to get better with the ball in the air. Jay Fair is very good when the ball's in the air. He has incredible ball skills. That's a very underrated skill for a wide receiver. So a lot of times accuracy and whatnot is maybe 40 to 50%, the receiver being able to make a play, get in the right position on the ball, especially down the field. And Hooks is just not quite there yet. The fade is a very good demonstration of that. Look, Rivaldo can't be the only guy that we throw it up to. We got to have other dudes. Otherwise, if you line him out, it's pretty obvious what we're going to do. And it may not even matter because Rivaldo will probably catch it anyway. But you got to have. I think Hooks. You got to get him involved. You got to get him reps because he may be another guy that is adjusting to the speed of the game and gets better. He looked good. That beautiful throw he caught down in the corner of the end zone. Got to get. I get it, but he's got to be able to convert a lot more, and I think he will as games go on.
Yeah, and one other thing about Jay Fair, just to circle back real quick, he's averaging 12 yards a catch, so it's not like it's just 3-yard dink and dunks either. Like he's if he catches it, like he's averaging a little over a first down, and then Hooks is averaging 17 yards a catch. Right. But let's get to the guy, Rivaldo Fairweather. He's third on the team with 7 targets. Oh yeah, and also 7 catches.
Mean,
it's just
put it up.
He's living up to the hype, dude. And you saw him force feeding it to him early against Samford. You got to think Texas A&M. Texas A&M's had to have to game plan for several things, but I'm just curious to see how A&M and then other SEC teams play Rivaldo Fairweather, because you almost have to treat him like a tight end or as a wide receiver instead of a tight end.
His ball skills are absolutely incredible. So like he understands how to get himself in the right position, like on a deep ball, anything that has some distance to it. I think he's much better, much more of a weapon down the field than I do on the crossing routes and things like that we run to that we try to run to him early in the Samford game. like the catch he made, the long catch he made on like the 3 or the 4 yard line. I mean, when he shields you, when he gets in front of you, you can't see. He blots out the sun. Like you can't make a play on the ball because he's just going to engulf you and get his body in front of you, and then he makes the easy catch. Like it's incredible.
Did you notice it was a short pass to a running back? I think it was Damari. It was early in the game against Samford, and Rivaldo was already turned around, like looking for the ball, and it was a dump pass to Damari, and he felt the defender behind him, and so he blocks for him, like boxing out, like he's backing up against the guy to block, which was just funny because he knew if he turned around he'd lose him. But he knows how to use his body so well, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And it's not just to maneuver his body around to position himself for the catch, but like he really seems to understand leverage, which is awesome.
Yeah, he's a big, incredible athlete. Like I mean, at the end of the year, like go play some power forward. Like I think he could probably do it. Like he's that good. He's just, man, he's so much fun to watch. He's already like on Mel Kiper's big board. Like just
is he?
He's like the number 6th overall rated tight end, like already. And he's only had 7 catches, and I think that usage is about to go way up. So
it has to. It has to. So, I mean, when you look at, just the target disparity, Jay Fair 20, Shane Hooks 12, Rivaldo 7. Javarius is at 6. He's only played 2 games. We don't know how much time he's going to miss. Then after that, it's kind of your running backs. Do you expect those 3 guys to be the main 3 guys, or do you think somebody else like Amari Kelly could possibly emerge? Or do you think it's those 3 dudes and then a drop-off?
Man, it's so hard to say. I think Javarius is going to be part of it too. But right now,
it seems like he's always kind of battling an injury. I hate it.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy, like shorter, like one of the best throws of the day, one of the best throws today, in my opinion, was Thorne ripped one to the pylon on like a quick back shoulder type fade, and Shorter just – he turned the wrong way, and then he couldn't make a play on the ball. Like, I just wonder if it's too fast for him. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be able to separate. And then where do you go from there? Amari Kelly gets separation. He made a pretty good catch. He got separation against Cal on that back shoulder fade. He just didn't make the catch. Maybe that's a guy. You got to have some outside guys, and he is a 6 foot 6'1" dude that can run a little bit. Maybe those guys start to work in, but like right now, 3 dudes, like not a lot of teams have 2 dudes, but if you got 3 guys that you feel like you can go to, and then you got your running backs that you can dump off, which I think is going to become a big part of the game this weekend. That's pretty solid if you can stay healthy, but you do got to bring some dudes along. But I kind of like this little trio that we have going right now.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Damari Austin was towards the top of the team in targets by the end of the year. He's tied with a few people for 5th as far as targets. I just like what he brings. Yeah, I mean, he's caught
he dropped the pass. He's probably got 5 for 5. Yeah, I was thinking he would be a 100%er. I've never seen him not be able to catch.
Yeah, and I kind of thought that would be more Jarquez, but I think I'd rather Damari be in that role right now. No disrespect to Jarquez. I just think Damari Austin is like, I think he's figured it out. I'm all in too.
I'm all in too.
Yeah. All right. Can Auburn beat Texas A&M this weekend? We discuss in just a moment right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at GameTime. GameTime is the best place to buy all of your last-minute tickets. Buying tickets to your favorite events, whether it's sports or the theater, music, comedy, whatever, it shouldn't be stressful. You should be able to look forward to that and have fun and not dread the process of getting there. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and the best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have thanks to GameTime. I had like 4 of you guys reach out to me via Discord this weekend asking for the GameTime promo code. It is Locked On College, all one word, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. That gives you $20 off your first purchase whenever you create your GameTime account after downloading the GameTime app. Of course, it's free. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. You've got to check it out. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem with code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Charlie5, Auburn message board legend, hanging out with us. Final few minutes here. The big question, we've been asking it all summer, and now it's even more appropriate to ask, can Auburn beat Texas A&M on Saturday? And I think the way they played against Samford and the type of calls that they played and made against Samford, I feel better about it now, much better about it now than I did a week ago, and much better about it now than I did going into the season.
I mean, I don't know that I could say anything different. I feel watching Miami kind of torch them helped too, especially through the air. Look, they're obviously the best offense we're going to have seen thus far. They're one of the top scoring offenses in the SEC. They've played 2 cupcakes, and they even scored 33 or 34 against Miami. I know a lot of that was kind of they were down trying to come back, whatever. But they can throw the ball. They got some good backs. They have the really good receivers. So it's going to test old Ron Roberts. I can't wait to see what he schemes up for this, because to me, I feel like we're going to be able to move the ball one way or the other. I feel like we're going to be able to move the ball. The 3 teams that we've played have all said we dare Auburn to beat us running the ball. I don't think we've necessarily seen. I'm sorry, they've dared Auburn to throw the ball. In other words, we're stopping the run. Like we will do. They cannot throw the ball. We'll do whatever we can to stop the run. And I'm wondering if that game against Samford changes that philosophy of opposing defenses moving forward a little bit. And if it doesn't, I'm happy. Like that's fine, because I think we will be able to. That makes RPOs so much easier. Okay, makes RPOs so much easier when teams are up on the line of scrimmage trying to stop that run, because it's going to leave a lot of one-on-one opportunities. So
yeah, I'm more worried about stopping them.
Yeah,
than I am scoring, which is kind of weird to say after the game 2 weeks ago against Cal, but I just feel better about passing the ball now than I did then.
Yeah, I'm worried. Will they be able to just sort of run on us and control the clock? I know, Petrino likes to throw the ball, but still, I'm wondering, can we be tough and stop the run, and then can we create turnovers? You're going to have to on the road in an environment like that. I can't wait to see how we scheme that to get after them. And then offense, look, a 6 point. I would have never before the beginning of the year, I would have said we would have been like maybe 10 or 11 point, underdog to be going on the road. Only 6 point dog. I like where we're at. I think we got a shot.
I think I saw 70% of the public's money is on Auburn +6.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. It's early. Like, let's see how that shakes out towards the end of the week. But yeah, I like where we're at, man. That was a big game to build off of. I feel like that. And I think I almost recognize that Hugh Freeze feels the same way, because his demeanor seems to have, like he said, okay, I can take a breath. There's something here. I was really concerned, but there's something here. Cutting up a little bit with Dap in the press conference.
That was
talking
awesome.
About, I should have known. Y'all should have told me Payton was only 18 yards away from being the first ever 300, 100 guy. Stuff like that. I think he's sort of been able to exhale, and say, okay, there's something here. There's something here that we can build off of.
Yeah, Dapprich got halfway through his question, and he was like, God, why didn't y'all tell me?
Exactly.
That was a great question, Daryl. Good job bringing that stat up. I just feel good about it. My biggest concern, I think, with Saturday's game, and this will change a little bit when I watch A&M stuff a little bit closer throughout the week, but Auburn's pass rush. Auburn's the 11th best pass rushing team in the SEC, which is not good. A&M's 9th, so I think we'll be able to defend theirs fine. But what is Ron Roberts going to do to generate a pass rush? And I just think Auburn has the DBs where you can send an extra dude and just put guys on islands for a short amount of time and hope you get there. I think that's the move.
It is.
I like Connor Wegman. I like him a lot. I think I like him more than the average person in this business. I think he's good. I just think it's a weird situation, and Jimbo Fisher is his head coach. But I think Auburn should be able to score. I think Auburn should be able to score on Saturday. It's just, can you stop them consistently? And based on what we've seen so far, like, I don't know if we should doubt Ron Roberts until we actually see this.
Exactly. Special teams, I felt like before Keontae Scott went down, we probably had an edge there. That I'm very concerned about punt returns, man. If we do stop them, like, who are we gonna put back there? Like, heck, in the Samford game, it got to the point where we just didn't even put anybody back there to return the punt. So
yeah, I think you put Jalen back there.
Yeah, Jalen went back there, which
and it's just like fair catching and just catch the ball. Jalen,
just catch the ball.
Yeah.
So maybe that was just a fluky thing, and we'll, but you did muff two and you lost one. So one led to points.
I'm glad you bring that up, because a lot of people have asked me in messages and stuff, and a few comments on YouTube, and feel free to comment. We do see those. Why Brian Batty is not returning punts. And I can't get into the technical, but kick return and punt return are two very different things, to my understanding. The ball is different.
Yeah.
You don't have blockers. Like, you got to look up. I mean, it's just the responsibility is different. It's actually funny. Years ago, when I was doing middays on the ESPN station in Auburn, Marcus Davis would come on a few times a month, and now he's coaching, but he returned punts for Auburn. Right.
Right.
And he was telling me how different the two were, because there's just so many more things you've got to think about. It's much more mental on the punt return side. And, like, I don't know what Brian Batty's like mindset or willingness is. I assume he'd be willing to try it, but surely they've tried him back there before. But he's a kick returner. His skill set matches more of a kick returner than a punt returner. It's not the same thing. And I think a lot of people think, oh, well, you're just catching a kick and running it back. I can't get into the technical details of it, but it is very different.
Well, shoot. I mean, think about it. When you kick a kickoff, it's end over end every single time. So it's going to spin the same way every single time. It's going to essentially travel the same direction every single time. Whereas a punt spinning, it's all different. If the nose turns over, if the nose is up, if it's end over end, like, there's so many different things that can happen. And it's just, it is a different skill set. You can't just put anybody back there. And I hope that we can find some type of remedy, because I'm not sure that Scott's going to even be available for this game. So I know
that's devastating,
and that's tough. Like, I know he was in a boot, during I think they put him in a boot immediately, and I'm just not 100% sure he's even going to be healthy for the game. So you got to find a solution there. That's probably the biggest sketch part of the game for me right now. I kind of feel good in a lot of other places.
I get that. Charlie5, thank you for your time as always. How can people check out everything you've got going on, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter at @the_Charlie_5 in the Locked On Auburn Discord every single day, auburnlive.com, the corner message board, or weekly on the Dad Bod Golf Pod.
Yeah, and you can read all my written work at auburndaily.com. We will be back tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.